So we'll start here. Alright, good morning to all those of you joining us wherever you are, whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is you plan to do with your day today, just ensure that Extreme Radio is a part of your doings, your business. Alright? So we'll start here. New law requires certain frontline workers to be vaccinated. For those of you who haven't heard, those of you who got caught up in all that happened Thursday into Friday, all know it is still being talked about where the PM was injured. There are many of you who got distracted from the main mission that you had set out on Thursday, which was to stand for, in inverted commas, your rights as it relates to being forced, in inverted commas again, to take a vaccine.
And some people go on there not even understanding what they went on before.
Yeah, and you would always get that. So don't even take that out. Don't even put that in. Listen, a lot, especially when you include politics, there are a lot of human beings who would take advantage of the limited knowledge or the limited level of education that some people have. That is it. Okay. We can't run away from it.
Fact. Right? Your fact, yes, me fact.
Yes, there are some people who would go and not even know why they're going, but they would go anyway in the name of politics. That would always happen. We can't run away from it. But a lot more Vincentians took to the streets on Thursday, with the mission being to stand and show solidarity against being forced to take a vaccine. All right, which would have, according to what is being thrown out there, which would have been made possible through the amendments of the Public Health Act. All right, that was the mission on Thursday. Right. So, for those of you who don't know, who haven't heard, it was amended. And the amended Public Health Act requires certain frontline workers to be vaccinated and removes the right to object based on personal belief, but does not violate freedom or conscience. This according to the Minister of Health, Sinclair Jimmy Prince. All right, he said that the amendment was yet another aspect of the government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, which he said threatens to derail completely our social and economic situation here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It is nothing more, it is nothing less, Prince said of the law, which he presented to lawmakers for approval shortly after 11 p.m. Thursday, after hours of protests during which Prime Minister Ralph Gonsalves was struck in the head and injured. It says this amendment requires certain frontline workers to be vaccinated in the public interest. Of course, we have been hearing all throughout about rights and whose rights we want to take away. But we are not hearing the other part, whose rights are being infringed as a result of the monopoly which some people think they have on rights. This according to Prince. Now that we have experienced a pandemic, we must consider whether it is reasonable for a citizen infected with a communicable disease to be exempted from treatment for that communicable disease on the ground of personal belief, when the entire community would be threatened by that communicable disease. I love this. I love the way this was presented. Let me repeat it. I'm going to repeat it. Right? Now that we have experienced a pandemic, we must consider whether it is reasonable for a citizen infected with a communicable disease to be exempted from treatment for that communicable disease on the ground of personal belief, when the entire community would be threatened by the communicable disease.
Before you go forward though, definition of treatment, right? You give treatment when somebody has been injured or after illness or when the person has become ill.
There's preventative.
But would you call it preventative treatment if there is no illness?
Can't you?
No, preventative measures.
Well, they're preventative measures. I can't
So
do
the
anything.
vaccine
Is
that is for certain individuals is a preventative measure
right.
to prevent the spread of COVID-19, not necessarily a treatment. Treatment would be
Okay,
paracetamol.
I get what you're saying.
You understand?
Right, okay.
So
All right.
I disagree with that party, but there we go.
Alright. I think this is the area that we are trying to zero in on. And that is why, of course, we are talking about frontline people. It is not to attack on the fundamental rights and freedoms of our people, as some opportunistic commentators would have us to believe. And it certainly does not violate freedom of conscience. On the contrary, it underpins our duty as a government to protect the well-being of our country. Now, that is just to update you that yes, it was passed. All right. Remember to mute on the audio. So mute one. Which one? Remember to mute one.
Thanks.
Right? Okay. Good.
I think I got it now.
All right. Yeah. So that came in from X. Big up X on vacation right now. Got some responses coming in and said, but what we really want to go in on, that was just to put that out there to update you for those of you who have not yet been updated since Thursday. All right? No. It says here, somebody want to call. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Could you read that phrase again?
Which part of it?
The part of it about
Communicable disease?
affecting.
Oh, now that we have experienced a pandemic, we must consider whether it is reasonable for a citizen infected with a communicable disease to be exempted from treatment for that communicable disease on the ground of personal belief. When the entire community...
Hold it there.
Yeah, I have something else to say about that, but let me see if it's the same thing.
I want you to go back to the beginning of that sentence very slowly.
Okay, now that we have experienced a pandemic, we must consider whether it is reasonable for a citizen in...
Stop there. That citizen is who?
Anybody.
No. If you read the sentence, that citizen is not anybody. Continue slowly.
Infected with a communicable disease to be exempted from treatment for that communicable disease on the ground of personal belief.
Okay. Explain that. How does that, as public citizens, because the sentence now is not talking frontline workers. The sentence is talking public citizens.
Across the board. Across
who
the
has
board.
a disease. Who has a contagious disease, a communicable disease. Who, according to the sentence, should not be allowed treatment if they refuse a vaccine. I want you to read it again very slowly.
Even slower than before.
Because I don't think we understand the play on the words. Or maybe I am wrong.
What I picked up from it,
Probably.
right? What I picked up from it, we have not, or people have not been speaking about refusing treatment. They have been speaking about refusing the preventative method, which is the vaccine. You get the vaccine before you are infected to either minimize the risk of infection or minimize the chances of spreading it and minimizing the effects that it has on your body. I do not think people are up in arms. People are not up in arms because of treatment once you are infected. That is what I'm
getting. We have to take a step back. The change to the Public Health Act is specifically geared or targeting what they call the frontline workers. The police, the nurses, the whoever's, the teachers, what they call the frontline workers.
But we know. Are we aware that this amendment is not specifically or limited to COVID-19 vaccine? Eh?
It is
This
not.
is going forward. So
Well,
something else might come later down in the future.
Yeah, but I don't think they can put a blanket over another disease that may arise simply because diseases, people are allergic to certain things. They can't just put an umbrella over every single disease from there on forward.
Technically, that is what is being done.
Don't forget-
it's
don't
not
forget-
specific to COVID-19.
Don't forget as well, in a national health emergency, the government or the ministry has the right to make
no, they
certain
don't.
vaccines. Yes, it is in the law. They have the right to make certain vaccines mandatory, just as when you're going to school.
You see, that is the law that we know and we are being told. But we have to
That
go
we are
back to the
accustomed to.
1960s when the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines signed on to a series of I don't even know if it's conventions, but they are there, that it has to be proven that the population of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is going to be wiped out, and I'm just surmising in simple language, that the population or an area or a community or a vast section is going to get, let's be extreme, is going to get leprosy. So we have to shepherd up everybody and put them in a place so that they don't get it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes,
Now,
but what proof do we apply here?
Let's go back. Let's go back to when COVID started. Please, let's go back to the very beginning because I think everybody's losing sight.
Go ahead.
What happened when COVID started?
Everybody get frightened.
What happened where? Here or in other parts of the world?
In St. Vincent.
Everybody get
When
frightened.
COVID started. What happened
There
when
was
COVID
panic.
started?
There was panic. Or maybe you
Focus
can say
at the
exactly.
time- The focus at the time was sending tests to CAFA in Trinidad. Am I right?
Focus at the time was to contain it as much as possible.
or prevent
Minimize
it, or
spread.
prevent it from getting here.
Right.
beyond the
So to
attempt
get testing
You
done.
were testing people and you were sending out stuff. You
Correct.
were sending
To
out
CAFA.
tests to be tested.
But
Correct.
Isn't that
I
still
think
being
we
done?
forget our roots with COVID roots. We forget where we came
Uh-huh.
from. So we had this mass confusion in the country because,
Like in other parts of the world.
of course, but let's talk Caribbean. Okay? There was no vaccine. There were all the frontline workers. There were the teachers. Then we had the mosquitoes, the children clothing chains. COVID persisted. There was no vaccine. The nurses, the police, the teachers, you name it. And then, of course, they went to online school. Why all of a sudden, after all these trials and errors, have we reached to a stage to tell the citizens who have been saving the people of this country since COVID started that I have put your head in a block? I have taken out the word mandatory, but that means you still have to do as I say because you're not allowed to do as you please.
I'd like to respond with this. What would you suggest?
The respect of humanity.
No. In
Let
terms.
me finish. You're asking me what we should
Okay.
do. Because the respect of the citizen is already lost, or the attempt. You cannot tell me that you refuse or you may not accept what my doctor says. And that you have to come to another person or to another doctor
You're still
that
not
you
responding.
approve of.
You're still not responding.
Maybe she gets
I
in
just
there.
answered you.
No.
Some
What do you suggest? Okay, so let's say that all right, we open arms. We open arms against what is in place now. All right, that ain't working. We're not accepting that. What do you suggest?
I suggested this a long time ago. Each human being must visit their doctor, their own doctor, whether they're private doctor, their community doctor, whatever they're accustomed to enter into a discussion first and foremost on the quality of the body to accept the vaccine.
Right, fair enough.
That is the responsibility of a government worker. I say a government worker because the government wants to have a safe team of workers, if I should put it like that. At that point in time, you, citizen, have to make the determination whether you are going to comply or whether you are going to give up your job. It's a simple matter. But don't start confronting and saying that you have to do this and you have to do that, otherwise, look, because it boils down to the same thing. As I hear the service saying, you have to look for a job. Well, I find it interesting. You know why I find it interesting? Because I wonder if the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines are going to reach a stage where everybody sit at home and the van drivers sit at home and the store workers sit at home.
Okay, all right.
I mean, can you imagine what will happen to St. Vincent?
I doubt we'll ever get there. We'll probably go to another plan.
We need to stop the heavy hand and we need to have a lot
I agree, but at the same time, a stance must be taken.
And the bill should not have been passed. I don't care what it is.
Fair enough. All right then. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We got the digital state of emergency mix coming up.
We were also going to...
I'll share that. Let me throw it out. This is where we really wanted to go. An NDP government will repeal amendments made to the Public Health Act. This is what is being said now by the opposition leader. Leader of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines main opposition party, Dr. Godwin Friday, says an NDP government will repeal the amendments made to the Public Health Act. It is dictatorial. No matter how strong I feel about vaccination, I will not force it upon anyone. Imagine a government telling you which doctor you must submit yourself to for an examination. They are saying that if you want exemption from the immunization program, this is the doctor you should go to for an exam. How are you going to trust that doctor? Secondly, you must submit to the vaccination program if the government says, submit to the vaccination program if the government says it's a requirement for work. They are saying it's not mandatory, but it's required.
What's the difference between mandatory and required?
What I want to get, probably when we come back, what I want to get from Dr. Friday is this. It is all well and good to say no, because probably this is where the mindset, this is where the discussion is among the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Probably this is what they want to hear at the moment. All right?
So that's all we should be doing, just telling people what they hear.
Opportunistic. It seems opportunistic, right? Fair enough. So you come and you say this is what you would do. You would repeal the amendments made because at the moment that is what people want to hear. But what would be the solutions offered to the current state? That's all I want to know. What would be in place? What would you put in place to address the situation as it relates to mass vaccination? How do we plan to achieve this with an NDP government? That is what I'd love to hear.
To me, it comes across as a call for fresh elections as well. Maybe I gone too far into it, but that's how I'm sorry.
You're gone real far with it. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
The part with the doctor, I could understand that part, but working around hospitality and working around other employees, right?
Mm-hmm. Other sectors, perhaps?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one.
Mm-hmm.
It have people who could go by the doctor, right? Even if they're sick, they get 10 days sick leave.
Correct. And that has been happening, especially within the public service.
All right, then. So here now, what about if they look into the party now? Okay, then. As an anti-vaxxer, I go and tell my doctor, hey, now, I'm taking the vaccine. So you write up.
So write up something, they give me. Fix up something, the usual.
Yeah,
the usual.
Yeah. You see,
what about if that is part of what they look into, well, you have to go to the CMO and then the CMO
verify.
And the CMO is a what? The CMO is a what?
Hello?
The CMO is a what?
No, I
As a
say
doctor.
what about that is the part where you have to go to the CMO now and the CMO have to recommend.
Right. And
You
the
know?
CMO is a medical doctor.
Right. And she recommend you to a doctor who she thinks she trust or how you are for it.
Right. I could understand that.
Because remember, I know for sure. I work on one 8 years, QG, and I never send in a city. Never. But you have people who does it. You have
But
people who does-
what about the genuine cases?
Well, I think they're going to be paid. You have to give them, you know what I mean? Let's hope it be paid.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We're gonna stick up in there. That's all I want to find out.
I don't mind. I've never minded the CMO playing a part in ascertaining or trying to find out whether somebody is not fit or fit to take the vaccine. I never minded, and I don't mind that.
But
People is lying.
these people,
People is lying.
it never said that these people would be examined by the CMO, you know.
Well, I said playing a part.
Okay, that is not what people have an issue with. The issue
Why
is,
does the
issue-
CMO have the final say?
The issue is, okay, I go to my doctor, the doctor who knows my medical history, and you can't trust that. But what is there to say to me that this is why I should trust this other doctor that you're sending me to?
Medical professional.
Yeah, we going back there with that argument?
Yes.
So the person who knows my medical history is what?
Also professional.
So
but,
you can't
but,
trust
but
him.
there might
you
be.
can't trust him, but I should trust who you're sending me to.
Why is it that some people are sending fake sick leave? So let us get
Yeah,
them from.
oh God, we need to hold on and down, man.
Where let us get them from?
Let us not hold on to
The
that.
same doctor who knows you forever. Where let us get them from?
Yes, that is in the minority. That is in the minority.
Yeah,
You cannot use that across the board. There are
They
persons.
just don't want people to try to beat
But
the system.
yes, we understand that. But you
Right?
got to understand what people are saying. There are people with genuine underlying conditions.
Genuine, and perhaps
So
another
what
doctor can
happens-
pick up the genuine,
What happens in
genuine
that?
thing.
What happens in that case?
Maybe
You
they'll go
can't use
case by
that.
case. Maybe they'll make exemptions, just like how at
Yeah.
one point we made exemptions for quarantine in a hotel.
I'm not understanding
Maybe.
this medical doctor thing that you're trying to hold on to. So the person, what, is a carpenter in a doctor suit?
Professional. I'm holding on to the
So
professional
he is,
aspect.
so the
of-
other
of-
doctor, so because he is the doctor who prescribed whatever for me, that means what, he's a novice?
I don't see my
Like,
point.
no,
sir.
no, let me not hold on to that. Let me not hold on to that. Good morning. One final one, take a minute. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning.
Morning, welcome.
Thank you. Speaking about this CMO to make final decision, right? As you were saying a while ago, so totally unfair. You have your doctor. Your doctor knows your condition more than anybody else. Is it that this CMO is specialized in everything? I'm so not.
Okay.
So, for example, I got ill one time.
You got
and,
what? You got what?
Ill.
Oh, ill, like.
Yeah, one time. And the medication that the doctor they give to me, right? After taking it for months, I used to work for a company, so therefore they had sent me to see another doctor. And when I got there, the doctor was like, "How long were you taking this medication? What was the medication?" I told him. And this was the doctor replied to me, "How can I still be feeling pain if I take the medication over that period of time?" So I looked at him and I said, "As far as I'm concerned, you only reading about my medical history. You doesn't know nothing about because he never treated me." And when he repeated some tests on me, when I get ill at the first time, everything was still there. So does that make any sense?
Well, at that time, no, it didn't.
And now they're telling me that they're gonna send us to another doctor. Your physician knows best about you. And then Crystal is speaking about some people just lie. It's not about lying. Some people just do what they want. And for me, in fact and in truth, nobody should dictate and tell anybody what to do with their body. It's your own humanitarian right.
Okay.
And I was speaking to someone this morning, and I told them like this: when we were kids, our parents took us to school, to doctor to get a vaccine so that we can get an education.
Yes.
Was it mandatory? It wasn't.
It
Yeah.
wasn't, you say? Yes, it was.
No,
You
no,
have-
no, to get into a school, it's mandatory. But your parents could choose not to and keep you at home and they can educate
All
you
right.
themselves.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, what are you going to do?
Me?
To
I
work,
out.
go to work or work from home? Become self-employed?
Self-employed, but even though I'm a minibus operator, right? So you telling me I have to take a vaccine to operate my own minibus?
I understand the argument, my buddy. I understand the argument.
It's too chaotic, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right.
Um,
all right, then. Thank you. All the more reasons why I would love to hear from Dr. Friday what plans are in place to address this.
Then what?
Because we have to achieve it at some point. How you plan to achieve it? It ain't easy in the position that the government is in right now, you know.
Yeah.
You could always stay on the outside and say, oh, I will do this and I will do that until you get inside there.
Until he says
But we
he's
gonna
for
hold-
mass
we gonna
vaccinations.
We're going to hold on the calls and the responses. We got the digital state of emergency mix coming up.
Your village, your block is locked to X1.